Alright, so I'm on VS Code this morning, and this is the first introductional video to Python programming. In my previous video, I talked basically about installation. The one before that, we did some other stuff, and we talked about how the entire program works and stuff like that. But in this particular video, we will be writing our first lines of code, and this is the video you should watch immediately after installing Python. So as you can see here, I have Python 3 on my PC. Python doesn't work, but Python 3 does work. Alright, so let's play around a little bit. So what are the basic stuffs we can do with Python? Python as a programming language can be used to perform a lot of things, from arithmetic operations um, to some set of logical operations. So is 6 greater than 5? Of course, definitely 6 is greater than 5. Is 0 less than minus 1? That's false, and so on. So we can perform arithmetic operations, we can perform logical operations, we can do a whole lot of things with Python. Um, so what we'll be looking at precisely today is writing our first line of code. Now we understand that computer devices are devices that can accept input, process that set of data that it received as input, and then generate output that is meaningful information. So to break that down, I will be talking about two very important Python functions or methods, as the case may be. The first one I'll be talking about is input, a print, and I'll also be talking about variables. Okay, so just like in simple mathematics where we declare variables x and y, we can say x is equal to 6 and y is equal to 10, and we can eventually print out the multiplication of x and y. Alright, so before now you can actually see I created a file called test.py. Extensions are very important. The computer understands files based on extensions. So we understand that extensions like doc, those are documents, .pdf are read-only documents, and .mp3s are music files, .mp4 video files, and so on and so forth. So if you want the computer to understand that the file you are working on is a Python file, always add the extension .py. So I've created the file here, and I'm going to open this on my terminal, and I'm just going to say Python 3 test.py, and you see the answer here is 60. So the multiplication of this and this gives us 60. Now the print command brings output on screen. Now if I comment in programming lines of code that you can actually see, right, but they will not be executed, right? So in Python we use the hash symbol for commenting. What that means is this line of code is not going to run. So when we do that and we comment that out and we run, you see there's no output. But once we add the print command as part of the code and we run, we have our input. Now let's assume that we intend to get the input from the users. We can also then use the input method to actually do this. But I need you to understand how variables work, right? So what exactly are variables? Variables are like a box, right? So we have created a variable here and we called it x, and we assigned it the value of 6. We've created another variable here, y, and we assigned it the value of 10. You can create as many variables as you want, and you can, continually play with. You can continuously play with those different variables that you have. Just like in normal mathematics, the principle of BODMAS would apply here. So you can track all of these and you can rerun your code. The up arrow key does the rerun there, or you can retype if you enjoy that, and I'll save. Okay, so let's assume we didn't know these values, right? And we wanted them to be stored in a variable. I've defined a variable to be a box, a allocation of memory that you can actually store things on. It is like we're using some names to store unique data so that later we can get that data from those names. Um, so we can actually get the input from the user. Yeah, this works, and we can do this. All right. Now we're likely going to have, so I'm just going to run this and we'll see if errors pop up. So 12 and the next one is 2. Now we have an error here because we can't multiply non-int of type string. Now this is a very important lesson because this is a very common error that newbies get into. That is because whatever you get via this function input comes in as a string. And it is very important we also we understand that area because in Python programming and in most areas of programming we have what we call data sets or data types. Please pardon me. Data types. Now we have different kinds of data types. Now uh, Z here, the variable Z has the data type of integer. The variable y here, since it's accepting input from the user, has the data type of string, right? Um, Another alternative approach will be doing something of this nature. This entire data we have here has the data type of string, and it is assigned to y underscore 1, right? Another very important thing I need you to know is that apart from those two data types I've mentioned, integer and string, we also have floats. So when scientists divide most of these integers, we discover that we get numbers that are a little bit difficult to explain because they have some fractional portion. They have a decimal or a floating point, and that's where the data type of float comes into play. And this is also a very um yeah, sorry about that. This is also a very important data type, and it is very important. So if we have 100.0 or 100 point 32, now any number that has that floating point, we categorize it as a float. Now, and apart from this, we also have sets, we have tuples, we have lists, and so on and so forth. We also have dictionaries, that is a key and value combination of data, so you can, as we go on, we'll kind of explain most of those stuff. So but for now, we're just looking at simple variables and using our input and output. So how do we fix this? Now we have to fix this by making Python understand that we want this particular string to actually be an integer. So we're going to perform some conversion with by wrapping all of this with the int global function. So after wrapping this, I will click save and we'll rerun this. So we enter our first number to be 12 and 2, and we have our answer here to be 1. To make things more interesting, we can decide to add some little code here. Okay, so we will run that, and the first number we provide, and we provide 12, and we have this. Yep, that's very correct because the multiplication gives us 1200, and 100 is added, making it 300. Okay, so I think that's that with variables, and I hope this video kind of explains the concept. Now you can create variables, there are rules though in creating variables. One of the rules is that you make sure you're starting the variable, you're starting it with a letter or an underscore in some cases, not a number. So if we try to create a variable by saying a variable is called 9 edges or 9 something, um, 9 reach. Um, so we kind of get some error here because it doesn't really understand that. So we can't actually create variables with numbers as the first character. We can even use underscore and it still works. Yeah, but you be careful when using all of these so that you don't create variables that clash up. Now, variables are also case sensitive, so you should also avoid creating some sort of variables that will likely clash up. Now, it is very important as a programmer that you use variables because there are a lot of things you want to do. Variables also help you break down these tags. So you know that all of these things, all the summation here will be summed up in this variable. All the multiplications will be summed up in this variable. And then when I bring this variable and this variable together, I will have used the equation I would have, you know, by combining two of them, I now have a full reach, a full grasp of exactly what I want to achieve. So you need to understand that. So from this simple example I've made, I like us to try new stuffs. Like look at the simultaneous equation and see how you can convert it to some set of variables or a Python code. Look at the quadratic equation and see how you can convert all of them using those using the quadratic formula. Look at simple algebraic equations, see how you can convert them to Python code, and that will really help you. It will really help speed up your uh, growth level. So apart from this, we can also play around by writing another simple program where a user is asked to enter his name, right? And immediately after that we just want to perform some greeting. I won't be using a function because I've not yet talked about function, though the AI tool is suggesting I use a function there. But I will just go on and say hello, welcome to the Python world. I think this looks very good. You can always use the play button, right? It sometimes speeds up things. So I'm going to enter name. Let's assume the name is Henry and it says hello Henry, welcome to. So if you've ever visited a website and they are always welcoming you by your name, Python is running that behind the scenes. Um, yeah, so this goes on and goes on and goes on. All right, so I think that's the first layer of this tutorial. In the next one, I'll get to explain more stuff. See you later, guys.